Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope you are enjoying the best of health. I welcome you in my class, that is English for grade 2. We are learning unit 12. It's a beautiful poem with title Four Seasons. My dear fellow teachers, this lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation and worksheet links are given. You may click it, download it, follow it as it is or modify it for your convenience. I'm going to deliver my lecture according to this lesson plan. Yes, my dear students, today under the title of grammar, we are going to learn about punctuation. We have already learned, we are going to recall about punctuations and substitution words. So before this, I have taught you about punctuation and capitalization. I hope you remember. If not, you may watch this video lecture again. And we are going to learn further to identify punctuation marks in sentence. For example, capitalization, comma, full stop, and question mark. And the second SLO for today is recognize and use substitution words as objective case. Me, us, you, him, them, and it. These are our today's SLOs. Let's start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah mentions in Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 255, Allah, there is no God worthy of worship except Him, the ever-living, all-sustaining, neither drowsiness nor sleep overtakes Him. To Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth or on the earth. Yes, my dear students, but this beautiful verse tells us. But this is Ayatul Kursi, a beautiful verse of Quran. I suggest I could just bring a part of it. I suggest you learn it thoroughly and ask your Mama to tell you the meaning of complete Ayatul Kursi. Okay, so beta, this verse is in fact the introduction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about Himself, who Allah is. Allah is the only God. There is no God except Him. He is only worthy of worship. So we should only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not sleep, neither drowsiness nor sleep overtakes Him. He is ever living, sustaining. These are all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. So, beta, now I want you to look at these. I encircle a few of the things. This is, what do we call? Such type of marks which we see in our writing are known as punctuation marks. Remember, and I have taught you these punctuation marks. So first you tell me, where do we place or write a comma, a full stop, and a question mark? Do you remember? I have taught you all these punctuation marks. And where do we do capitalization, and what are substitution words? Okay, pause the video, answer these questions to your teacher, and then come back. Yes, my dear students, I hope you could answer all the questions correctly. Now let's see these answers in detail. We use a full stop at the end of a sentence, okay, and this is a full stop. We use a question mark at the end of a question. That means when we want to ask or inquire about something, we use a question mark, right? And we capitalize the first letter of the first word of the sentence. So whenever we are going to write a sentence, the first letter of the first word of the sentence is capital, okay? And we also capitalize the particular naming words, right? So do you remember particular naming words? A particular name of a person or a place or thing. For example, when we talk about our names of our pets, I have taught you in detail, remember? So let's see the examples. Look at this sentence. My brother Sajid loves eating mango. Okay, now you see there are mistakes. How to correct it? The first letter of the first word of the sentence should be capital. So to write it with small m is wrong. That's why we have to write it capital M. my brother. The first letter of the first word of the sentence is capital. Sajid. Sajid is a particular name. That's why we should write it with capital letters. Sajid. And now look at this sentence. This is a complete sentence. That's why at the end of sentence we have to put a full stop. This is how we capitalize and we use the punctuation mark according to the sentence. Remember, we have discussed this. Okay, let's see the other example. How is Zahra doing? Now you see, either it's a question or it's a statement. The first letter of the first word should be capital. That's why this H should be capital. How? Zahra is a naming word. It's a particular name. That's why it should be with a capital letter. And how is Zahra doing? It's a question. That's why it should end with a question mark. This is how we punctuate and capitalize the sentence. Okay. So the other example, we went to Islamabad yesterday. So first letter should be capital. Islamabad is a particular naming word, so it should be written with capital I. And is it a question or a sentence? It's a sentence. That's why it should end with a full stop. Right? This is how we have learned about question mark, about full stop, about capitalization. And the fourth thing is comma. So where do we use comma? We use comma, and this sign is called comma, right? To separate one item from the next. When we write a list in a sentence, so to separate those things, we use a comma. The final two items in the list are usually separated by and. And how do we do it? Look at this example. Apple, comma, banana, comma, mango, comma, guava, and orange, all are fruits. Okay, so because it's a names and there is a list, so whenever there is a list to separate one naming word or one adjective from the other, this is what, whenever there is a list of anything, we separate them by using comma. And for the last thing, we don't put comma, we write and. Remember, use of comma we have discussed in detail, right? So this is how we punctuate sentences and we use comma and capitalization. We just recalled it. Now it's time for activity and it's your turn. What you are going to do, your teacher will write some sentences on board and students will first identify the punctuation mark and circle and tell the name of that punctuation. How you are going to do, for example, your teacher has written this sentence on board. So you will circle the punctuation mark and will tell to your teacher what is the name of this punctuation mark. For example, it's a question mark, or it can be a full stop, or it can be a comma, whatever. Okay, so pause the video, enjoy this activity, and then come back. Yes, my dear children, are you done with it? Good job. Now let's practice it from your book. All of you open your book on page number 91. What we are going to do, we are going to do question 3, punctuate the given sentences. So sentences are here. You have to correct them by using punctuation mark and capitalization. So pause the video, complete this task, and then come back. Yes, my dear children, are you done with it? Good job. Now all of you place your pencils and once again listen carefully because we are going to learn another concept, and that is substitution word. I have already taught you about substitution word. A substitution word is a word that replaces another word. But a substitution means a word which can replace another word, right? And for naming words, what substitution words we use? We, I, he, she, it, they, you, all. We know these are substitution words, okay? And how do we use them? If this substitution word we are going to replace a naming word before action, we use he. But if that naming word is after action, we use him. Okay? Before action it's he and after action it's him. That's why we have just learned about substitution words which we use before action. The naming words which are used after action are known as objective case. These are subjective case, these are objective case. So for he, where we use he, a substitution word when we are replacing a naming word for singular male. For example, Ali, Umar, Asad. If we are replacing a naming word, we use he. But if a naming word, a male naming word comes after action, we use him. Okay. Likewise, if it's she, for a female naming word, it's coming before action, it's she. But if a female naming word is coming after action word, we use her. They, them, you, I, me, we, us, and it also. We can use it here. I am going to write it. It remains it in objective case as well. Okay. So if we are replacing a naming word, listen carefully. If we are replacing a naming word which is before action word, we'll use he, she, it, they, etc. But if we are replacing a naming word which is coming after action word, we'll use him, her, them, you, it, me, and us. Right? Are you clear with the concept? Okay, let's practice it through an activity that is given in your book. I made a card for Nadia. Now, made is an action word, and we are going to replace this naming word which is coming after action word. So this Nadia will be replaced with which? Substitution word. I made a card for her. Very good. Likewise, we gave Shahir a present. Now you see, gave is action word. It is coming before the naming word which we are going to replace. And Shahir is a naming word for a boy. That's why how we'll replace it. What substitution word we are going to use? We gave him a present. Are you clear? Okay, then pause the video, complete this task, and then come back. Yes, my dear children, are you done with it? Good job. So it's time for your homework. You will write 5 sentences using punctuation mark, comma, full stop, question mark, and capitalization. And here is a worksheet, my dear fellow teachers. This worksheet, lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation links are given. You may click it, download it, and kindly provide a printed worksheet to students for practice. And my dear students, what you are going to do, you will choose the correct option with the help of your elder sibling. And here are the sentences. You will replace the naming word by the substitution words. Okay. So what we have learned today, we learned to identify punctuation mark in sentence, that is capitalization, comma, full stop, and question mark. And we also learned to recognize and use substitution words as objective case. Me, us, you, him, them, and it. Are we done with it? Yes. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll come again with a very interesting lesson. Till that time, keep learning and take very good care of yourself. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.